Hello, welcome to this Careerpilot webinar, which is all about supporting you to see how you can use Careerpilot in your school and help to meet the Gatsby benchmarks. In today's session, we're going to provide an overview of the key aspects of Careerpilot for you. We're going to have a look at how you can use different aspects of Careerpilot to support each of the Gatsby benchmarks. And then we'll also show you how you can find maps and resources that will help you to use Careerpilot as part of your whole school careers strategy. So just to begin with, to give you that overview of Careerpilot as a platform, it's an online platform that has 4 zones. So there's the student zone, which is the student-facing part of the site, which is the main website. And then for you as a career advisor or somebody working within careers within your school, you have access to the advisor zone, which gives you lots of different resources, and the reporting zone, where you can see the data that's been generated by your students when they're using the site, which you can use to support you to adapt your provision to suit the needs of your students. There's also the parent zone as well, which supports parents and carers to support their young people at home with their careers decisions. And all of these together can really be part of that sort of stable careers program across the school. We also, in addition, have a separate tool called the Careerpilot Pathway Planner that can be purchased in addition to the access to the full Careerpilot platform, and that supports personal guidance around Gatsby 8. We will touch on that as part of this webinar. So as mentioned, this really helps you to ensure that you've got that whole school approach to careers, which supports Gatsby 1. So it puts the student at the heart of the programme. That's the first thing to say. So it's all about making sure that the student is developing the skills to be able to manage their own career, both now and in the future. But then there are specific resources, activities, and different tools that they can use from year 7 all the way through to year 13. So it supports that progressive approach to careers across the school. We have specific support for the careers leader within the school, and also support for delivering careers education through tutor time, through PSHE programs. We have specific resources for subject teachers. As mentioned, there's support for parents and carers, and then also for careers advisors that are delivering the personal guidance to students. So it's really taking a look at how you're delivering careers across the whole school and providing that unified approach. In addition, we have the Pathway Planner tool as well, that if you do purchase that in addition, that can support your Year 12s and your Year 11s when thinking about the post-16 and post-18 options. So we're going to start by looking at the student zone, just to give you a flavour. So this is where the students arrive when they're accessing Careerpilot, and this is the homepage that they would see. They can register at the top right. It only takes a couple of minutes to register. Once they've registered, that does allow them to start to build their own personal profile within Careerpilot, which is called the Career Tools. From the homepage, they can also navigate through to search for jobs or courses or providers from the top bar. Or they can go through the 3-stage process. This is a career decision-making process that can support them throughout life. So it's about, first of all, starting with themselves, thinking about their interests, their values, and where that might take them, then exploring their options, and then giving them the tools to plan their next steps in order to achieve that. Equally, if you've got students that just want to explore a particular pathway, so for example, they're thinking about the GCSEs, they can jump straight through from the homepage. So there are different ways to explore their careers decisions from different pathways from the homepage. You can also be generating a full report for your students as well, which can be developed through personal guidance sessions or working with tutors. And that can be saved within the career tools for the student to see from this end, but also for you as a school to be able to access from the reporting zone. As mentioned, it's really easy for students to register. It only takes a couple of minutes from the top right-hand corner. So they just need to click on there, fill in the short form, and just make sure that they choose your school name from the drop-down list, because this is where it attaches their personal account to your school's account, which then gives you the access to the data from the reporting zone once you've signed up to the reporting zone. So when they have set up their own account, as mentioned, this allows them to personalise their use of Careerpilot. So they can start to tag things they're interested in. So here you can see if a student's interested in working with animals within that particular job sector, they can add that to their job sectors within their career tools. Next time they log in, that's saved for them. So they can start to build up that personal profile of things that they're interested in. As mentioned, we have those 3 stages of career decision making that students can actually work their way through. So the first is about starting with you, and there are different activities that they can use, whether it's job quizzes, all sorts of different things within there. Then there are the different options that they can explore depending on their particular stage. So they might be looking at their post-16 options or the post-18 options, and there's lots of information to support them there. And then there's thinking about planning their next steps. So there are some really handy tools for them to start to make some action plans for taking the next steps forward. As mentioned, you could be generating a report as well that's saved for students that they can see within their career tools and you can see from the reporting zone. And this is what the report looks like. So it gives you the opportunity to record comments following personal guidance sessions, but also gives a summary of the different aspects of the site that the student's been bookmarking. So they can see quite quickly job sectors they're interested in, any providers they might have looked at, what sort of qualifications they're thinking about. So it gives that snapshot view of where the student's at with their career decision-making process to really support you to provide the information that they need for their next steps. As mentioned, this could be seen from the reporting zone. The reporting zone also allows you to run off reports on a group of students or individual students. You can see then at a glance what sort of job sectors a particular year group might be interested in. You can see what tasks have been completed by students. So this is all really useful information for you to be able to record the impact of your careers provision, but also to then manage the type of provision that you offer to students to meet their needs. So there's also the advisor zone, which is where you can find lots of different resources to support your teaching of careers. So whether it's careers, activities, longer lessons or short activities or hot jobs, we'll come on to some of those, but they're all within the advisor zone. And then finally, the parent zone, as we mentioned, this is where there's lots of information that you can share with your parent and carer community, where they can find some of the answers to commonly asked questions about the choices that their students are facing at particular stages of their education. So whether it's thinking about their choices at 16, considering the different aspects of vocational or academic choices, or understanding about apprenticeships or about student finance, there's lots of information there that can support your parent community. So thinking now then about how we can support you to meet your Gatsby benchmarks. There are different activities, as we mentioned, that are on Careerpilot specifically for the students to complete. And then there are also resources for careers leaders and teaching staff. So I'm going to go through each of the Gatsby benchmarks and just highlight some examples of some of the activities that you might plan for students, but also some of the resources that you can use as career leaders and teaching staff for each of the Gatsby benchmarks. So starting with the Stable Careers Programme. So this is Gatsby Benchmark 1. And it's useful for you to know that we have a careers leader portal within the advisor zone. And this is where you can access lots of overviews of how to use the Careerpilot site at the heart of your career strategy. So you can see here there's a Getting Started With program that gives lots of tips on what you can do and how you can use it and how these map to Gatsby. We've also got progressive programs for Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 included in there. And we've also highlighted how our 5-week careers programs are mapped to the CDI framework. So it all links into that bigger picture. So students specifically can complete activities that are relevant to their year group. And we've got those listed within the Start With You section for students, so they can select the year group that they're in, and it will give them some suggested activities that they can work through, both in class or independently. For teachers, there are 5 careers lessons for every year group, which are really great for using a PSHE, but can be used in other dedicated careers time that you may have. The first lesson of these programs is delivered as a video lesson, or can be delivered as PowerPoint. So there is that flexibility to deliver it in either way. And we also have online activities suggested for each of those 5 lessons that students can work through progressively, and they're all, as mentioned before, mapped to the CDI framework. We also have shorter activities that tutors can deliver within sort of 15 to 20 minute slots. So these include hot jobs activities and also quick activities that can be accessed from the advisor zone. So looking at Gatsby Benchmark 2, which is all about learning from careers and labour market information. For students, there's a whole wealth of LMI available for them to learn from about different jobs, and they can find this within the job profiles. They can see their routes into work, they can explore jobs near where they live, they can see how many people are working within that particular job in certain regions, they can see whether the job is set to grow or not. So there's lots of useful labour market information that students can access via the jobs profiles. They could also search for courses and see LMI data about jobs and salaries after completing courses. And we've recently added on a new green job search as well, that's giving lots of specific information about green jobs that are available across the UK. So they're all tagged within the Careerpilot site. So thinking about teachers and Gatsby Benchmark 2, there's lots of support there for how teachers can use LMI with their students. So we've got, as mentioned before, hot jobs packs. These are packs of resources that highlight some jobs in growth areas. So we've got a set of hot jobs resources on green jobs. We've got a set on IT and digital jobs, and also on NHS jobs. So for these, there are posters available. There are also images that can be used for social media or used as screen images for students. And then there are also related activities for a selected number of those hot jobs as well. So lots there that allows you to have those conversations around labour market information for some of those jobs that are in growth areas. Okay, looking at Gatsby Benchmark 3, which is addressing the needs of the pupil. Students, as mentioned before, once registered on Careerpilot, can be building up a personalised profile within their career tools. So this is where they can start to be thinking about what they're interested in and tagging it, and it's building that up for them, giving them an individualised view of Careerpilot. Teachers can then view how the students are using Careerpilot in the reporting zone, and they can run off reports where they can have a look and see the areas of interest for their particular students, which will help to plan things like employer encounters, matching up with the job sectors that students are interested in. Lots of different ways that you can use that data to support addressing the needs of each pupil. We mentioned before the Pathway Planner tool. This is a tool that can be added onto the Careerpilot Access. This is for purchase. And this tool allows you to triage the needs of your students according to the level of need. So thinking about planning your personal guidance for students to match the need that they may have. So it works out whether students have particular needs about certain pathways, that then you can plan the guidance to meet that. So Gatsby Benchmark 4 is about linking curriculum learning to careers. A really great tool that students really enjoy using within Careerpilot is the Start with a Subject. So this is where students can see where a favourite subject could take them in the future. So they might pick history, and they can see there quite quickly at a glance the different jobs that are related to history, but also the different courses available via college or university, and also apprenticeships. So it's exploring all the different pathways that they might take related to their favourite subject. Teachers then can use the Start with a Subject as well, so they can use that as a sort of discussion tool for talking about jobs related to their particular subject. but also we've got some packs that we've created for Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5 subject teachers with some sort of hot tips on how to make that link to careers from their subject area. So it's got suggestions of videos that teachers might use where people are talking about jobs related to their particular subject, as well as also TED Talks and lots of other useful links to resources that make that link across the curriculum. Gatsby Benchmark 5 is learning from encounters with employers and employees. So there are lots of opportunities for students to learn from employers and employees by watching the videos. We've got a whole bank of videos, of many, many hundreds of videos, with different people talking about their jobs, their courses, and a whole range of different job sectors are represented through those video stories. They're really accessible and short and easy to access for students. Students can also complete the skills profile on Careerpilot, and then they can have a look at how their skills match up with the skills that are needed for a particular job. This is really useful when they're thinking about their work encounters as well. So they might do some work experience and record on the skills profile the skills that they've used within that work experience. You can start to build up a bank of evidence of where they're demonstrating those skills themselves to help them for future planning to apply for jobs or courses. Teachers are able to view the students' reports where they can use the intel there to help them set up and record employer encounters. And then thinking about Gatsby 6, the experiences of work, again, it's really useful for students to use the job profiles to actually help to research and plan for work experience. They can find out a bit more about the job that they might be about to get involved with and learn from the relevant LMI that's provided within the job profile. There's also a page where students can search for virtual work experiences, which is been listed by industry sector, which you may find useful for those students that aren't able to get out and about in person. They can find some of those virtual experiences instead. And we've also got, as mentioned, within the careers lessons, the Year 10 ones specifically help to prepare students for work experience. So hopefully that's really useful to be able to deliver on the run up to that work experience time at the end of Year 10. Gatsby 7 is all about experiences with further and higher education, and students can find lots of information and advice on both further and higher education pathways on Careerpilot. There are video stories from students talking about life at college or university, as well as lots of useful information and links to external sites to support them with their research. They can also explore their local education providers and see what they offer. So they can zoom in to look at those providers within a particular radius of where they live if they are looking at local opportunities. And teachers may find as well that it's useful that we've got a section within the advisor zone where universities have listed free encounters that they're offering for students. So a really great opportunity for students to get a flavour of university life through some of those encounters. Okay, and then finally Gatsby Benchmark 8 is all about personal guidance. So as we've mentioned before, the students are developing their career tools as they're using Careerpilot, and this can be really useful for informing the personal guidance sessions. So as a careers advisor, you might be able to talk through some of the different activities that students have completed, and you can see at a glance the different areas that students are interested in. So this can be useful for students to think about preparation in advance of their personal guidance, but also as a follow-up afterwards as well. Careers advisors can also be recording reports and actions within Careerpilot, both before and after the guidance sessions for students to see within their career tools. And we also mentioned the Pathway Planner tool, which really helps schools to plan the level of personal guidance needed according to the needs of their students. And I will go on to just give a flavour of the Pathway Planner tool shortly. Okay, so Pathway Planner tool, as mentioned, is available as an additional tool that schools can buy and add to their access to Careerpilot overall. So it consists of a lesson that can be delivered for your year 11s or for your year 12s to help them prepare for their post 16 or their post 18 options. So it talks about the different pathways that are open to them. This can be accessed via the students will be able to see the Pathway Planner tool within their career tools on the website. Once they've had the lesson delivered, as part of the session, they will then complete a choices section where they can choose which pathways they're interested in. So thinking about whether they definitely want to do a particular pathway, considering, or they're not interested. This then generates a RAG rating of the different pathways that they're thinking about for the coming year. You can then ask the students to complete a quiz, which asks them a series of questions about that particular pathway, which enables you to understand what they know about that pathway and where there are gaps in their knowledge about that pathway that you then might be able to address within the personal guidance. So if a student has said, for example, that they're considering apprenticeships, but after completing the quiz, you can understand that there are a lot of gaps in their knowledge about apprenticeships, then that might suggest that you need a longer personal guidance session to address the needs of that particular student. Another student may have lots of information. They know that they want to go to university. They know lots about it. They may need less time with their personal guidance session, or it might be that you could address it within a group session or a drop-in session. So there are different ways of allocating the personal guidance according to the needs of your students, and using that quiz helps you to really understand what those needs are. Okay, so finally, just to mention that there are maps to Gatsby that cover everything that I've just talked about today that you can find within the Career Leader portal. So within the Career Leader portal, which is in the Advisor Zone, you can find some really straightforward maps that just outline the different aspects of Careerpilot that you can use to support each of the Gatsby benchmarks. And you will see that many of the activities I've mentioned today will be captured on there. So hopefully that's a useful tool for you to use. And we have got a version for SEND schools as well as for mainstream schools. We've also got a useful guide for completing Compass Plus as well. And again, just looking at how the different activities can be referenced within your Compass Plus tool when you complete that. This just remains to say this is what it looks like within the admin dashboard. So you can see this is where you can access all of the reports. You need to have a reporting zone access set up for this. And then you can toggle through. So I'm just going to say that if you've got any questions about setting up the reporting zone access, or indeed adding the Pathway Planner tool, or any other questions about how you can use Careerpilot to support meeting the Gatsby benchmarks, please do get in touch with us. I've just put there the details to the Careerpilot helpline, so feel free to pause the video, make a note of those, and you can contact us if you have any questions at all. But otherwise, I hope you found this session useful. Thanks so much. Bye.